In December 1936, the British Empire watched something almost unbelievable. A reigning monarch stepped down because the law and the constitution refused to bend for him. Edward VIII wanted to marry Wallace Simpson. Parliament opposed it. The cabinet refused it. The church blocked it. And the king of an empire so vast that people said the sun never set on, abdicated. He bowed before the constitutional order. The throne fell and the law stayed. This moment stands at the entrance of our question. If even a king had to walk away from absolute power because of the law would not move, then what does that tell us about the supremacy of law? But history never keeps things simple. In America, the Watergate scandal pushed another powerful man to the same age. Richard Nixon crossed lines, imagining his office placed him above accountability. Yet the Supreme Court ordered him to release the tapes. He complied. Within weeks, he had to resign. The world took a deep breath. Again the question rose, was this the triumph of law over power? Across continents, another story sits like a counterweight. Stalin twisted the law into a weapon. Hitler rewrote the entire legal code through the Reichstag fire decree, drowning democracy inside legal language. In these cases, the question flips. If leaders can use the law itself to crush freedoms, then can we still call the law supreme? South Africa adds another dimension. The apartheid regime wrote cruelty into the legal system. Everything brutal was also technically legal. Yet, when Mandela emerged and the judiciary began to shift, the same legal framework was dismantled piece by piece. So is law supreme only when it aligns with consciousness, or is supremacy merely the illusion society feels when outcomes look moral? In the Maulvi Tamizuddin case, the judiciary validated the dissolution of the Constituent Assembly on a technical ground in Pakistan. A legal argument protected an unconstitutional act. Here the question echoes again. If the law can be stretched to validate power, who is supreme in that moment? Then 2007 arrived. A military ruler suspended the Chief Justice. But the legal community and public erupted in one of the largest civil movements in the country's history. A deposed judge, Iftikhar Chaudhry, became a symbol of defiance, and an authoritarian president, Pervez Musharraf, cracked under pressure. So which was supreme then? Law, people, or the fusion of both? From the revival of assemblies in 1993 to Panama Papers in 2017 to Rekodik, Pakistan record reads like an ongoing tug of war. The question keeps tightening. Is law leading or being pulled? Look at all these historical points together and the curve narrows. One moment law crushes a king. Another moment it bends for dictators. In some countries courts protect freedom. In others they rubber-stamp freedom. Sometimes the constitution is a shield. Sometimes it's a straight prop. The contradiction becomes sharper the more examples we gather. And this is where the question becomes unavoidable. Is law supreme? Or does law simply reflect whatever force is strongest at a given moment? If supremacy was automatic, then Hitler could never have used legal decrees for oppression. If law was always powerless, then Nixon would not have resigned. If supremacy belonged to the Constitution alone, Edward would never have abdicated. If power alone ruled, 2007 Pakistan would never have erupted for judicial independence. The closer we get, the sharper the paradox becomes. Law is treated as absolute in some cases, ignored in others, and weaponized in still others. When we climb back up the other side of the curve, patterns start forming. Law rises when societies demand it. Law falls when institutions fracture. Law becomes a boundary when leaders accept limits. Law becomes a tool when leaders manipulate it. Sometimes the judiciary becomes the anchor of a nation's consciousness. Sometimes it becomes an extension of power. So the question remains suspended, undissolved. Is law supreme? History gives us moments where law humbles kings and presidents. It also gives us moments where law bows before journals and tyrants. The record is neither clean nor consistent. What's undeniable is this. Every society claims law is supreme, but history says that supremacy is not a declaration. It's a test, a recurring test. A test nations pass on some days and fail on others. And the question still stands. Is law truly supreme? Or is it only as supreme as the people, the institutions, and the movement allow it to be?